A very good afternoon to all the viewers of Physio TV. In today's session, we are going to have a word with our own very well-known personality, Dr. Nitesh Bansal sir. Throughout this interview, we will be trying to touch the different shades, the different achievements which Nitesh sir have achieved in such a short span of time. So before we start the conversation, I would like to give a short introduction of Nitesh sir. Nitesh sir has done his PhD. He has been professor and registrar at Rishihood University, Sonepat, NCR of Delhi. Nitesh sir qualified as physiotherapist from KLE JNMC Belgaum in 2003 and did his MPT from Srinivas College of Physiotherapy, Mangalore, under the RGUHS Bangalore. He completed his PhD from Ansal University at Gurgaon. He has established academic and clinical physiotherapy institutes at Amities University, the GT Goenka University. In addition, he also has experience working with professional associations, bodies at national levels, such as the Indian Association of Physiotherapists and the Society of Indian Physiotherapists. Nitesh sir has worked as the registrar of the GT Goenka University, Gurgaon, Haryana, and as an additional registrar at the OP Jindal Global University, Sonepat, Haryana. Currently, he is working as the founding registrar of the Rishihood University, Sonepat, Haryana, and hold a post of professor in its School of Healthcare. He is also a recipient of the Best Outgoing Postgraduate Student Award, Significant Contribution Award, Linnaeus Palm Scholarship funded by the Sweden government. He has also been member of the GSE team of Rotary International and Project on Capacity Building in Higher Education in India, funded by the Erasmus and European Union. He has published more than 15 scientific papers in reputed journals and conference proceedings of physiotherapy in India as well as abroad. He has a vast experience in various domains of physiotherapy education because of his association with many reputed universities in India. As a member of Board of Studies, examiner, and a paper setter, he has been inspector with the DCP, that is the Delhi Council of Physiotherapy and Occupational Therapy. He has been the member of the Physiotherapy Central Curriculum Task Force, which is constituted by the Health and Family Welfare Ministry, Government of India. He has also been a scientific reviewer of abstracts at the World Confederation of Physiotherapists, etc. He also had the opportunity to be a part of sectoral working group of National Assessment and Accreditation Council, that is NAC, to develop the manual for physiotherapy and allied health science institutes. There are many more things which could have been added to this CV, but due to the shortness of time, I'm refraining myself to this limited introduction. So I welcome you, Nitesh sir. We are very much honored to have a word with you.
Thank you, Dr. Swapnil. Thank you for such an elaborate introduction. I don't know whether it was required or not, but thank you so much for having me. I really don't know whether I will be able to make some contribution by sharing my experience, which can be useful for somebody, but I'll try my best. Thank you once again for having me here.
Yes, sir. So, sir, before we start the introduction, the first question what I would like to put forth is, what was your inspiration to enter in the field of physiotherapy? Can you please share your views to motivate our budding physiotherapists as well?
That's a very tricky thing, Swapnil, because honestly speaking, there was no motivation behind me getting into physiotherapy. It's by an accident. Let me tell you very honestly, and I must confess here, like an average student, physiotherapy was never in my dreams at all. I was ready to wear a black coat, never ever a white coat. But as the destiny would have it, an average student, I took admission in political science honors in Delhi, being a science student at 12th. One fine morning, I been woke up by my father and said, I have got you admitted in a college in Belgaum. I said, what I'm going to do there? He said, physiotherapy. The only thing which kept me happy was I have been asked to go away from the home. At that teenage, if you asked to go home where there'll be no restriction, that's the thing which made me very happy. And this is how I landed up in Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College, Department of Physiotherapy, for a bachelor's program in physiotherapy. So having said that, honestly, there was no motivation, but yes, my father was very much determined. My family was very much determined to put me in a program which is health science related, because I studied bio, that also because of the pen. I was never interested in that. So that happened with an accident. So, but whatever happens, it happens for good. we may feel something at that time. So my motivation to get into physiotherapy was my father's wish, my family's wish. And just to share with you, we have three people in my family who studied in the same classroom. My
Wow.
sister, my own sister, she also studied. We studied together. My wife, Shitija, she's from Pune. She also studied in the same class. So inspiration, so I'm not sure, but yes, the journey was quite exciting for me at Belgaum.
So though it was not a planned journey, but it is going to set up many of physiotherapists to have a very nice platform for planning their lives.
Yes, planning life, professional, personal, both. And I'll share with you how this has transformed me as a person.
Yes, sir. True, sir. So, sir, apart from this, as you said that you have done your UG from Mangalore. So, what were your interesting memories you would like to recall and share with us throughout your UG and the PG life?
I did my UG undergraduate from Belgaum and I did my PG from Mangalore, Srinivas.
Oh, I'm
So
sorry to.
there are n number of memories, and I'm sure all of us, when we were students, we enjoyed our time. First of all, the best part about the Belgaum was KLE itself, the infrastructure, the facilities, the amazing faculty members, starting from Dr. Alpana, Dr. Khatri, Dr. Sanjeev, who is the current principal, and the father figure for the physiotherapy, Dr. Mukashi. We are also fortunate to be taught by Dr. Lata Parmar, Dr. Radha, and many seniors who are now vice principal, dean, and teachers there, Dr. Kage, Dr. Anand, Dr. Santesh Medgood, they all were. I mean, they made our experience, I mean, amazing. It was not only the academic orientation, but orientation towards being a good human being. We were exposed to technology which people thought about in 2005, 2010. And we were exposed to it in 99 and 2000. Thanks to Professor Mukashi, his vision to establish a department, turning it into a full fledged independent institution. I mean, we were not so caring about the knowledge and studies those days, but now when we reflect back, we realize what we were exposed to. We all took us lightly, whatever was offered to us. In Mangalore also, it happens. So Mangalore is known as, Makkah of physiotherapy.
Yeah.
My days, there were about 16 or 17 colleges of physiotherapy. So if you just, stand up and push somebody, there are chances. People used to say the third person would be a physiotherapist or a physiotherapy student in Mangalore. So those days, staying on those cities where everybody and each and everybody knew what physiotherapy is all about was a completely different experience. And Belgaum, I must say that I just relived my memories. I was fortunate enough, I was called back by my institution. I was invited to be part of the graduation ceremony on the same stage where I got my degree. And then I was asked to award the degrees to junior students. So it was an amazing experience. I'm sure, like anybody else, nobody can forget.
We have a, sorry to interrupt, sir, we have a wonderful picture of it wherein you have been offering that same picture where you have done your UG and you are sharing the stage as a member of that invitation program in the 221. I'll just shortly share it.
Yes. So this is the BS Jirge Auditorium in KLE. Welcome. The first picture on the top in 2003 when I graduated. I don't know if I'm able to see. Yeah, I'm standing in the first row. I think probably the third guy, if you can see it correctly. And then the latest picture, 2021. It was this year when I was invited, being on the same stage, doing the same job, but at a different role. So it was a great moment. And I did share with students and parents present over there how great this institution is. If it has transformed you to a level where you have been called back, there's nothing more prestigious than this.
It's indeed a dream come true situation for you, sir. Like
Absolutely.
anybody who has studied at an organization, always he would be finding it overwhelming to be a chief guest at that place and honor that occasion.
And the only people responsible for this kind of a fundamental change is the family members, your parents, your wife, sister, and the teachers who have taught you. So I think all those goes to them.
So the next question which is coming up is, you have held many prestigious positions, right, from registrar, director, and many other important posts, being a very senior member in the drafting of several bills and certain protocols. So, amongst all these prestigious positions which you have held, can you please let us know which was the most challenging one and how were you able to tackle that situation?
I'm sure, Swapnil, there will be no different answers from my side. I'm sure many of the leaders have experienced at some or the other point in their life. For me, it was special because I was exposed to it at a very young age. I will say my experience at Amity, when I was asked to set up a physiotherapy institution. And I was asked to set up a physiotherapy institution out of a already existing institution, which was actually dominated by the allopathic practitioner, the physicians. So they were the people who used to head that. And getting physiotherapy out of their hand was like a task, at least for me, convincing the management and the stakeholders that physiotherapy is an independent profession. I'm talking about way back in 2006 when the higher education was going through a transformational change. Physiotherapy was also going through a phase where people started recognizing it suddenly. So those were the time when I had to convince people, no, physiotherapy is an independent profession and you can trust physiotherapists to run the physiotherapy program. Although there are many examples in South, but in non-India, those days they were very less. Rather, there were few, but you can count on your hand. And way back in 2005 and 6, where physiotherapy institutes were headed by physiotherapists. And I was young, just graduated from postgraduate program, young lecturer, those that it used to be called as. That was the most challenging and most satisfying because within 2 years I could convince everybody in the organization, which you call as Amity University now, that physiotherapy deserves to be an independent institution to be run by physiotherapists, and we could get whatever we wanted and we could convince. And I think the pedagogy, the experience, what we received during our undergraduate and postgraduate program helped us. Every teacher, their contribution, their vision, what they taught us, how they used to conduct, helped us to maintain that same decorum and get our due respect within the university system. Second thing, when I decided to come out of the physiotherapy and try something new, again, it's people may feel that I left physiotherapy and got into academic administration, but honestly speaking, Swapnil, it's the physiotherapy which got me into that situation. There are very rare people in a professional field choose to be an administrator. And I did that, thinking that there is something new which I need to do. After being a director for an institution for 7 years, the life was quite monotonous. There was nothing new, challenging to do. And nobody would thought of, promoting a director of a physiotherapy to a next level. So I gave a challenge to myself and chose to be an academic administrator, which was tough. But yes, the patience, the kind of looking for details while studying physiotherapy helped me to transforming myself into administration. So again, these were the two instances where I felt this was challenging enough for me, but I'm happy I could overcome and I could, I can at least now say with a lot of pride that yes, I did a fairly a good job at that time.
So no doubts about that, sir. We all can see the levels to which you have taken the profession, sir.
No, I don't see that. I'm no. I see now. At least I know two of my good friends. They are also in a similar position. I know Dr. Joginder Yadav, who's also a registrar now in a university in Gurgaon. He's a physiotherapist. Dr. Anand Mishra has recently been appointed. So I think there are people who are they are actually going beyond their limits and what we have actually demarcated ourselves. So this is something which is happening common. And I'm happy that I got an opportunity by grace of God a little early and I could encash that.
Very true, sir. So now you also have been consistently involved in a lot of global physiotherapy events consistently. Now, what are the different changes you wish to see in the Indian physiotherapy profession?
That's a very important, and I think that's very close to my heart, which I had to work. I have been fortunate to attend at least 3 WCPT and 1 AWP conference in my life. It was in Vancouver way back in 2007, and the picture one we have in Amsterdam 2011, and recently the last one at Singapore. I couldn't go to South Africa, but yeah, I had been fortunate enough to attend. I think the major change which I foresee for future is we Indian physiotherapists have not started looking forward still. Somehow physiotherapy is still a upcoming profession in India. I don't know how long it will. We have already become a kind of senior citizen in terms of age. We have crossed 60 years of existence. In my perception, physiotherapy is already a well-established profession in India. Now it's a time, rather we are a little late. We have to come to a stage where we start thinking about future. I know many physios are thinking about it and doing great work, but still it's not been reflecting at a national level. So what I want to see and what I want to take from international level to start thinking, debating, deliberating about future of physiotherapy, how we can improve further. It's a time that we should stop cribbing about what has been done. I'm telling you, Swapnil, I have seen physiotherapy very closely on different aspects. We are very, very well placed in society as of now. We command a good amount of respect, not only from our patients or stakeholders, but also from our fellow colleagues in medical care and healthcare. It's a myth created by few people around. There is always a scope for good people at the top. You pick up any field. If you are good in certain skills, you will always be picked up. The only barrier comes when you stop thinking, when you stop, inventing new thing, when you stop talking about certain new thing and doing in a different way. Till the time you want to follow the same footstep what other people are doing it, there will be a time where you'll have to stop because there is enough shoes on that. So you'll have to carve out something. And I'm pretty sure the young generation, which are completely different in the way they think, in the way they do things, they will achieve much, much greater height. And I think physiotherapy has a great scope. The only thing what we have not done, and I think it's a blame, it's on us. We need to take senior or somebody who have worked already for 15 years in this profession. We are not able to motivate people enough to start talking about future. Technology is going to come into physiotherapy in a big way. Rehabilitation is next new thing. People are going to be talking about it where we have an important role. So this is something we need to start talking about. Being an association or a statutory body, we need to now ensure that our future generation get a better work culture and a better work environment in terms of as a professional.
Definitely, I do agree with you. There is a huge transformation which has been observed throughout the past 5 to 10 years in our professional practices as well as our clinical sprints. And as you truly said, there has to be some more reformations with regards to the technological expertise to be included in the clinical therapy practice, not only with regards to the treatment strategies, but also to the evaluation related things, which may be somewhere our population may be lacking. But as you rightly said, with the coming years, definitely those transformation will be fulfilled.
There's always there is a discussion where people say physiotherapy is not popular in certain areas, but that reflects even for allopathy, even for dentistry. Not every part and each and every part of the country have access to that. There is a dearth of allopathic practitioner or a dentist in a rural area still till today. So we don't have to be in a hurry. If you look at the overall scenario, I think what we need to think about and learn from foreign country is amalgamating the technology, whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is machine learning, whether it is big data, whatever we can do, we have to incorporate into our clinical. We have to incorporate that into our research. We need to ensure that we utilize this technology in a positive and open-minded so that we can further improve our clinical approach and help as many as people we can.
True, sir. Sir, you have also been member of the development of many bills. Now, I would like to ask you, what are your views regarding the NCAHP Act?
I was part of forming a model curriculum, some regulations, and some draft policies, but never of a bill. If you're talking about this National Commission of Allied and Healthcare Professional Bill, I see this as a very positive change. I see this as a very welcoming step, and especially today, what we have heard all over that they have notified the rules also under which the chairman, vice chairman, secretary will be appointed and how the business will be conducted, especially at the commission level. Some people might have, as usual, there are few people who only see negative about everything happening, and there. It's a part of a game. But what positive I see that there will be a regulatory body. We will be heard. But simultaneously, I want to make it very clear for those people who think that's the end of all our problems. That's not going to be the case. Please understand that statutory body is to provide a channel between the profession and the government, nothing else. There is no example around the world, not only in India, but across the globe where problems have solved because there's a statutory body. Yes, we're going to get a due recognition, of course, in terms of legal. We are going to get a platform where we can talk about us, where we can make government hear us, what we can do better. So yes, that's a very positive impact. There is a paradigm shift in thought process within physiotherapy also about the statutory body. And whenever I talk about the National Council, one thing comes to my mind always, and I have said that several occasions. One song which comes to my mind, wo pari kahan se laun teri dulhan jise banao. Because we have been cribbing about कि इसमें ये सही है, उसमें वो गलत है, ये अच्छा नहीं है या और अच्छा चाहिए. We need to be in the system first. There was a talk when we were part of RCI. With the great efforts of IAP, we came out of RCI. Few years ago, there was a deliberation we would have been in a better state if we would have been RCI. There was a time when the government offers us a combined council of PT and OT. We refused it. When I say few, means our own professional. And with all due respect, they did it whatever best they thought at that particular time. So I don't think so there is a reason to crib about it. Yes, we have got a council which was due, which was overdue rather. We should be happy. And now all our effort should be to strengthen it further rather than cribbing about it.
I completely agree with you, sir, because at least we have got a platform where we can build up the future for the budding physios, and also some very good recommendations can be made, and all the pros and cons considerations can be planned to provide a very good future for the budding physios of the future. Thank you, sir. Sir, you have also been associated with the sectoral working group of NAC. So what would be your suggestions for different organizations in India to enhance their institutional growth? That is my first thing. And you are also the member of the National Force, which was constituted by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in order to draft the model curriculum of physiotherapy. What areas do you think will help our profession to grow in a better manner with this new curriculum? Can you please guide and provide your views regarding this?
Let me take you to the second part first, which you said the National Task Force for formulating the model curriculum. It happened in 2017-18, where about 16 of us across country were part of that group. And I was fortunate enough to be selected among those 16 to present the model curriculum to the committee chaired by the then Joint Secretary of Ministry of Health. And it was a great experience as usual. And if I have to share my experience and what I feel, after doing that exercises, we as a physiotherapist need to be proud of ourselves, what we do as a profession. The famous line, what we are hearing from the first year is medicine adds years to life and we add life to those years. Actually, it's true. What goes wrong, Swapnil, is we start comparing ourselves and we start complaining about other professions. Let me be very honest with you. There were physiatrists in that committee. There were pediatricians in that committee. There were orthopedicians in that committee when we were formulating our model curriculum. All of them have their different views. Till the time you tell them what exactly you do. So what I personally believe is you should actually strengthen your commitments and your strength rather than complaining or taking about the weakness of other professions. Try to talk about what you have rather than complaining about what you couldn't achieve. So being a physiotherapist, I think we have enough with us. The model curriculum talks about from before taking a birth till the last time, to the last stage of the life. So I think we have enough on our plate. We need to concentrate and start enjoying. The problem comes when we are not able to do as per expected. So then the problem arises, and then to cover that up, we try to blame some other profession. I haven't seen somebody who has done their job properly not being rewarded or being acknowledged. So for model curriculum point of view, yes, you will have to convince people because they have come from a different mindset. All along, you must be seeing people talking about physiatrists. They have taken a job. But yes, the curriculum, what we have, it's developing a curriculum. It's not something which will finish ever. Yes. It's an evolving process. We did something 4 years ago. 5 years ago from now or 6 years from now, you will see there are a lot of other things which need to be incorporated. But what we must understand, India is a diverse country. What happens in North may be very unique or may not happen in South. Same thing with East and West. So when we talk about forming a national curriculum, we can only talk about a minimum guidelines. So you cannot compare. And I think the way forward, what we have new education policy, it may also cover professional courses like physiotherapy. We need to give a lot of liberties where they can take care of regional outlook. For example, the requirement in Haryana or Delhi may not be exactly same what you have in Maharashtra. There are huge different culture-wise. There are huge difference in a lot of other factors which can influence your patients, the overall well-being. So curriculum is something which has to be at a model level, at a central level, at a minimum level, and then have a scope for diversity at a regional level. So this is something what I feel we could achieve, not exactly, but yes, to some extent. But I'm sure there is a lot of scope to improve further. Coming back to your first part, yes, that was again a challenging. the developing of manual for allied health, because till now the scenario was about the university and maximum to a medical and dental college. This is the first time when they started thinking about, no, there is a huge allied health section. And thanks to our colleagues, physiotherapy principals, physiotherapy deans of those university and independent standalone physiotherapy colleges who approached NAC, and NAC came to their institution and they were all surprised by kind of work they are doing within their institution. That's the reason they thought, no, we need to hear physiotherapy perspective also. That's what three of us were part, Dr. Raju Karasha, Dr. Shyam and myself, where we came across for the first time so much of resistance. No, you need to follow the medical outlook. But then at the end, when three of us said and gave a proof of what all happens in physiotherapy, the kind of data physiotherapists generate right from masters. Some research happened at the bachelor's level also, but they don't consider that. But of course, especially at the master's level, there is so much of data which people collect at every institution. There is a depository of those dissertations. It may be at a smaller scale if you compare the individual dissertation, but it reflects in a lot of findings from a research perspective. And now the PhD program, which is also getting common, so they could, agree to having a manual where they incorporate criterias and questions which are related to allied health sciences. So the present manual have a scope to further improvement, of course, as like any other document, but yes, it do recognize and document the importance of physiotherapy per se.
Sir, you were also the General Secretary of the SIP. You have seen many transformations throughout the SIP, which has been developing to such a international level right now. So can you share some of your memories with respect to the transformation of SIP?
I can go on for a day, Swapnil, if we talk about the SIP. It was something what we thought of establishing way back in 2015. And there was the sole idea of creating a platform where people can interact academically. A lot of people named us as IAP3 or something, a parallel body. But frankly speaking, the kind of people who are associated, I'm sure you know many of them, Dr. Rajiv Pudashar, Professor Dastoor, Sarul Sangvi Madam, Savita Ravindran, Shabnam Agarwal, Manish Arora, Narkesh, Kaushal, Snigdha Mehta ma'am, Asha Chitnis ma'am. There are n number of people, Venkatesh sir, PP Mohanty sir, so many of them, Deepak Kachalia sir, Deepak Kumar. So all of them, they came. Dr. Bela Sethi, very, very important part of our team. The only agenda they had was to create a platform where physiotherapists can interact at a national and, if need be, at international level for an academic purpose, nothing beyond. And I'm quite happy. Rather, I take a lot of pride in saying that yes, we are able to achieve that. We have come to a level where people, at least what I have heard, people look for a physiotherapy conference of SIP to attend and being part of it. So this is something we had our own challenges. In initial days, there were a lot of resistance, but thanks to colleagues in Ahmedabad, especially mentioned Dr. Bhavna Gadvi, Ragna Shukla ma'am, Anjali Vise ma'am, they all came forward and supported us when we started with our first conference, which was organized by Dr. Sarul Sangvi, senior most physiotherapist. And then we went to Bangalore. Then we had a successful conference in Kolkata, Delhi, and last one was in Mumbai. So I think we had been able to get participants from more than 15 countries in our conferences. The selection rate for abstracts, we had a lot of problem because of that, actually had come down to 50%. So only 50% of abstracts were selected, despite increasing the slot and everything. All our criteria are transparent completely as far as the conference is concerned. Second biggest agenda, which is we want to reach out to physiotherapists and help them in whatever they want to do. So we have these provisions of grants where we provide grants for research in 4 different categories. We have provisions for conducting camps at your society level, community level. We have grants for conducting lectures. And recently we started online also, SIP chats and SIP web. SIP chats are where we have, I think, interviewed more than 16, 17 senior physiotherapists from India and abroad, sharing their experience about as a physiotherapist to youngsters. So I think it's at the end of the day satisfying. This is my 3rd term as a secretary, and fortunately, I think I will be relieved after completion of this term. The biggest satisfaction is, yes, there is a position, there is a status of SIP conferences, which is known for its scientific program. So that's what we feel happy and honored about.
The quality of the platform and the transparent processing, what is being carried out at SIP makes it a key ingredient for the success of the SIP.
And
What
I think
I would
credit goes
like
to
to.
all the founder members led by Dr. Raju Purashar, whom you can see in the picture. He is the driving force. Of course, the blessings of seniors like Dr. Dastur, Dr. Savita, Dr. Saroj Madam, and we have members like Asha Chitnis, Nikta Mehta, Kaushal, Shabnam. So I mean, this is the collective efforts of everybody where we are today.
Sir, I would like to further ask you about your another task which you have carried out in the past. You have been associated with the student exchange program by the Sweden government. Can you please guide our future physios about the student exchange program?
This is something which is untouched in physiotherapists. People don't really now. I see few colleges doing that right now. I know, but I'm talking about 2008 and 9 when we were not so outspoken. We were not doing something where we can, showcase. It was not only sending students from India to other country, but also inviting students from other country to come to India and observe what physiotherapy is all about in India, how physiotherapy students are being taught or trained, and how physiotherapists practice it. So I had this opportunity where we got a grant, where this grant was for 7 years. I also was a recipient of that such program. I went to Sweden and studied that, and we used to host about 2 students every year. There was 1 year there was only one student who came. They used to spend about 2 months with us. This was when I was with Amity. It just got over, I think, 2015 or 16. It was for 7 years. So that's something what we must attempt. And that my suggestion to all the physiotherapy institution colleagues is, because till the time we go beyond our own geographical area, we will not be able to understand a different perspective. There will be a discussion why we need to understand a perspective. The perspective stays very important because till the time we don't understand the other way of looking at things, we will not be able to evolve further. We'll keep looking at the thing in the same manner and keep using the thing with the same output without realizing that there could be a further improvement in the output if we start looking from a different perspective. We must attempt to join hands with a developing country who have a similar mindset. Biggest strength what we have is our population, and we can very well encash on that. We can very well rely on that. We can very well showcase that to other countries. They can come here, observe patient. They will not be able to see those clinical thing in their whole life what they can see it in 2 months. So we have oceans of these the population in India whom we can tell them about. They can make their learning engaging and meaningful. In response, we can visit that. We can be exposed to technology, what they are using in their clinical practice. Not exactly in the practice per se, but also in administration of your clinical practice. So these are few things which we must do it. We can start with Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines. Now, I think Dubai also have a lot of campuses which are originated from Western countries, but they have campuses in Dubai. And all them actually respect the Indian teachers, especially in the healthcare. You must be aware that there are a lot of Indian teachers who are teaching in Malaysia, Singapore, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Middle East, and everywhere. Even in UK, European countries, there is a batch of this IPH Institute. The whole batch is in Denmark, it seems. So there is a huge demand. US, Australia, New Zealand, UK, they are filled with Indian physiotherapists. And I think it's a time that we need to go outward, showcase what strengths we have, and try to learn what best they have. This is something we must provide an opportunity at least once in 4 years program to each of every student to spend at least 2 weeks outside our country.
Right, sir. As you rightly said, that most of the patients and the conditions which we can demonstrate, or we can get the exposure to the population who is from abroad, they will never ever find that amount of cases out anywhere in the world. So definitely that exchange should be done, so that inculcates the understanding of new ideas, new concepts, and framing the solutions for those in a far more better manner. Very
And
true, sir.
collaboration, of course, collaboration of working on a common problem. So that's something again which will enhance when you join hands with like-minded people.
Yeah. So now the next question which comes up is uh, your own student, Dr. Piyush Jain, is a very good friend of mine. He wanted me to ask you this question especially, like is the secret behind your success in such a short span of time? What were your secret things, sir? Can you please share the
I,
success?
I always used to tell Piyush, always Piyush, don't ask the wrong questions. So this time again, he made the same mistake. No, there is no success. Honestly speaking, I don't see that as a success. I'm learning and I'm still learning, and I will keep learning in my life. Yes. Uh, there is no secret. I have not done anything which nobody else have done it. I'm just following what I have seen and observing. But yes, I have certain things which I have kept in mind always, which I would like to share with others. They may consider as a secret for success or something to make their life happier or successful. I believe in three L's, and I would request to each one of you, a young physiotherapist especially, to kindly reflect on these three L's. And if you like it, there's nothing to lose by considering these three L's. First one is liberating goal. Each one of you must have a liberating goal. That means think as big as possible. Never limit yourself, at least in thinking. Unless you plan and think for yourself, you'll not be able to reach there. So, first thing is to have a liberating goal for yourself. That's very important for each one of us, irrespective of profession where we are. Second L, which I have decided about myself, was lateral thinking. Always think about for a problem in a different way. Don't go by usual solution or an easy solution. You must take a lateral path, a lateral thinking in everything what you do. If you have been offered something very easy, try to analyze why it's easy, why not do a difficult thing. Third thing and the last thing would be being a lifelong learner. So if you follow these three L's, I'm sure you will have a better. I'm not sure about success, what success is all about. I don't know really. But yes, everyone will be having a better uh, atmosphere or a work culture or a happiness in their life. So the moment you stop learning or you think that you have learned enough in your life, I think that's the start of your ending. So always remember that there is somebody who knows more than you and better than you. Try to learn as much as you can at what stage of position or age you are in. So these three things, which I personally believe have helped me a lot, and I would wish that if I can, pass on to other people and they can be benefited out of
Thank you very much, sir, for your this wonderful secrets. We will try to inculcate all this in our future careers as well as our life as well. So to make the things more simpler.
it. No, I think it's there. There's no secret, and especially if you can tell to Piyush, he's already doing a great job. So he already doing much more than what I have told. So I think that's something which all of us need to.
Sir, you have been a very closely associated member of the IIP since many years. So, what were your experiences, good experiences, which you would like to share during the transformation of IIP?
See, IAP is a great organization. There's no doubt about it. My journey started way back in 2003 when I became a member of IAP. Although we used to hear a lot about IAP from Professor Mukashi when we were students, but my real connection with IAP started in 2003, and more so when I became the convener of a local branch at Noida in 2006. And I work very closely with the executive committee, and I'm very proud of kind of leaders what we have. Everybody had their own style. There is no doubt IAP is the biggest and the largest organization, and they represent the real Indian physiotherapists worldwide, whatever the reason could be. But yes, there are certain chapters of IAP, like any other organization, which not so good. Not people would not like to remember them and would want to get into. Yeah, but somehow, my personal opinion, I could be wrong, and I'm happy if I would be wrong in that. IAP seems to be more towards getting into ego issues now. I think when there is an organization where we have people who actually consider their ego bigger than the organization, I think that's not something favorable for any organization. So that's what I personally feel about IAP. But I still say that IAP, the kind of membership they have, the kind of reach they have, the kind of the perception about being an organization they have, they can do much better still, and they need to really think about it. What went wrong? leaders which were there, they were seen working together, are not being seen together at least. So this is something which troubles. I think there could be a difference of opinion, but I think the idea, the motive, the goal remains always the same. You and me, if we want to do good for physiotherapy, we may choose our different paths, but the idea, the ultimate goals remain the same. What has happened in our biggest organization, it's not something what we really feel happy about it, but glad that we have been recognized again by World Physical Therapy. This is what matters to me actually, being IAP member, is we had a loss. We couldn't be the abstract reviewer for some time. We couldn't attend WCPT conference at the members rate. There were a lot of opportunities to be active in WCPT, but since IAP was not, but I'm glad that IAP is back. Although people who celebrated being back in WCPT without realizing that they were the reason of being out of WCPT. But anyways, everything ends well. So my all best wishes and hope that we come back to the same glory what IAP used to.
Let's hope for the same, sir. So another question coming up is, what would be your take-home message you would like to give to your colleagues and your students with respect to the current pandemic situation?
No, I think we just need to stay strong. That's it. That shall also pass on. I mean, that's everybody knows it. It's already towards declining, but yes, they need to be more vigilant about it and keep doing it. Role of physiotherapy will further enhance. Now we have seen it's all over. How important is to do those basic exercise which strengthen our respiratory muscles, breathing exercise, lying prone. We have been doing that all the way around, but nobody was recognizing it. But now suddenly, because of this pandemic, the role of physiotherapy is actually coming up. Everybody, I see that every day, some or the other person is talking about importance of physiotherapy. I have been getting calls requesting for physiotherapy through teleconsultation, where people said, "Arey, ye physiotherapy hota kya hai?" I mean, there are still people within your family still not ready to believe, but yes, I think. But again, don't try to compare yourself like what I see people trying to, yoga and other. I don't think so. There is a point where we need to challenge somebody or try to prove our existence. We are what we are. Yoga is what yoga is all about. So there is always should be a mutual respect with each other and keep doing what we are good at rather than, pointing out fingers at somebody else. And I'm sure we will find our path. And there is a great amount of work, amazing work our physiotherapy colleagues in India have done. They have come up with guidelines. I mean, even at the start of pandemic, they have been helping patients. I talk about people who are working in ICUs. They have been working tirelessly helping people covering out of COVID. And now post-COVID elsewhere, thanks to media, now everybody, there are videos which are circulating. People talking about breathing exercises, people talking about proning, people talking about use of oxygen concentrator, people talking about everything. So I think this is something we should be proud of and we should stick to it without, trying to be worrying about what other people say about us. I think our good work will speak at the last. So that's something we have learned.
Very true, sir. If at all we deliver the best what we can, the proof itself will be the proof that yes, physiotherapy is very, very important and it can change the patient's condition to a very certainly good extent and help the patient to recover in a very fast manner. It's not only during their ICU setup, but also the post-COVID symptoms and all. As you said, very true, sir. Physiotherapists are transforming their reflection in the society with the new role which they have achieved after the COVID situation. So thank you for your this valuable comments also.
And other thing, Swapnil, I must take, especially to the youngsters. I mean, there are few Facebook warriors, what we have in our profession, whose job is to keep spreading the negative news. But I think we need to look at society as a whole. You cannot have everything. There will always somebody who will keep pointing out because their job is such. But my advice to everyone, why to look at the negative part? Why can't we look at the positive part of everything? So my advice to people is don't get indulged. Enjoy that social media as a media and a medium for, you know, taking out your stress, but don't take that seriously. And we are not the only one who are suffering from that. Every profession has its own cherry of, getting affected by these kind of approach. आर्या में जो हुआ तो सबने शेयर किया. आर्या को इतनी पब्लिसिटी अपने होने की वजह से नहीं मिली एक सीरीज वेब सीरीज में, पर हमारे फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट की वजह से ज़्यादा मिल गई. बट उसका रिफ्लेक्शन हमारे ऊपर ये होता है कि इट इज़ ऑल्सो अगेन प्रमोटेड against us by other people. So my request to young physiotherapists especially is be aware of these Facebook warriors. Try to use your own mind and what your minds and heart says. Don't get diverted by what other people say. Analyze the situation and reason and a cause before making a reaction. And I personally believe there is always good to respond rather than reacting.
React.
So don't react. You may like to respond. Take your own time to respond, but don't react to certain things.
I completely second to you, sir. What you said, it's always response rather than react. I do agree with you, sir. Yes, this generation, what you said, the Facebook warriors, they are into, like, without taking much of the time to think, they start up all the things and share the things in a abrupt manner, which may not be good for the profession. They should think whether it would be actually benefiting the profession or actually providing an advertisement or popularity for a particular XYZ factor. Thank you, sir. So, sir, out of many questions which I have tried to ask you, you have all answered in such a nice way, nice descriptive way, with a very nice, simple solutions, very simple guidelines. This all will definitely help our colleagues, our future physiotherapy students to somewhere shape up their career and their professional life in a very, very nice manner. Uh, Nevertheless, I would further thank you very much for providing your important time and valuable inputs regarding all the different domains which we have tried to touch. Uh, for you, sir, when we observe at this short span of time, you are at the position of registrar. I don't know where we can see you in the next coming 2 to 3 years. That's the thing we would be really looking up. Like, okay, that is the another benchmark which a physiotherapist can achieve. So you are an inspiration for all of us, sir. Just keep on doing the good work and inspiring us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Swapnil. That's you have been very kind. I'm not sure that much whether it's all true or not, but yes, definitely I'll try to do my best, and I'll be happy to share anything which I can help to young generation. Though I don't consider myself that old, but still, yeah, I'll be happy to come back and talk to you anytime. Thank you so much for having me here.
You'll be always welcome, sir, and definitely we'll be calling you for some more interviews in the future.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir. Have a
Bye
great
bye.
time.